I make a lot of custom cars diecasts, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot. I think I have over 50 at this point. Whenever I buy a multi-pack and get a duplicate of a car, I repaint them. Sometimes I just go to the store and buy a duplicate of a car to repaint them. They, of course, serve multiple different purposes, whole lots of different purposes, for videos or just to fill out some gaps in my collection. I especially like making cars based off of the video games or comics, books, deleted scenes, deleted concepts. But I also always enjoy making cars for my own original ideas, whether it be my series or my movies. I've had ideas for months and months of cars I'm hoping to make more of, and right now I'm going to take you through my top 10 best cars that I've made. Custom cars that I've made. Now, I may, in the future, do a audience pick. I may put up a poll on the community tab on my channel. So, yeah, I do post on there for those of you who don't know. A lot of times I'll do polls or updates on videos. And, yeah, I always like to keep you guys posted on what's going on, or if I'll miss a day of videos. Anyway, though, let's get started with number 10. Dinoco Sally. In the Cars Adventure series, I just threw a curveball back in Season 1 when I decided to make Sally the Dinoco racer after Cruz got fired. I think it was a really bold choice on my part, especially at the beginning of my channel. Putting in this big change in the first season that would affect the series forever. In fact, I remember thinking about deleting the scene where it was revealed that Sally was taking over for Dinoco, but I eventually decided to keep it in. And that's how we got this. Dinoco Sally started off as this terrible, terrible repainted Natalie Certain. Actually, she started off as normal Sally, then became a terrible looking Natalie Certain. After that, I was able to get a plastic Cruz from a playset, and I made this Dinoco Sally version 1. Back in October, though, I picked up a Cruz to make some Redline agents, which you may or may not see later on in the list. And I ended up picking up a Sterling and Cruz 2-pack, and that's how I made this Sally right here. Really, these two aren't that different. The paint's a bit of a bolder blue on the new one. I really think she's just better painted. Dinoco logo is different, stands out a bit more. I think it's a bit neater. The eyes are more detailed. And really, in the end, I like the new one a whole lot more. Moving on to number 9. Spot number 9 is here at spot number 9 for one reason and one reason only. The character. This is Officer Patrick Pace, a character who has become a mainstay in the Cars Adventure series and is one of my favorite characters. Now, of course, this is a list of my best customs, not my personal favorite pick. So, I really wanted to show Patrick off here because I really do like him. So I decided why not put him towards the bottom of the list. He's just supposed to be an additional Radiator Springs police car who in my series took over for Sheriff. Started off by helping Sheriff and then took over for him. I really do like him. I've updated him a few times. I made him for the first time in late March. Then I updated him in, I believe, about September, changing his light bar from gold to red and blue, and I think that looks awesome. What's next for him? To give him some more realistic eyes, more Cars character specific eyes, and probably replace some of this silver with white and just redo some of the writing. I really do like Patrick here. Also, fix that terrible looking badge to say RSPD on the back for Radiator Springs Police Department. I really love Patrick. I love being Patrick in Cars Adventures. And I like coloring in the bases of the cars. Here is just Patrick's base. As you can see, he has a silver slash in it. That's something that he actually got in, I believe, late August or early September in the Cars Adventure series. And that led to his first repaint, I believe. Moving on to number 8. Number 8 uses a technique that I really think looks great. Number 8 is my metallic gold Chester Whipple filter. Yeah, there really isn't that much unique about him. He's just Chester repainted gold. 15s on either side. Really not that much. But he's on here for one reason, and that's because his eyes. I really think that this gold Chester has the best eyes I've ever drawn on a custom car. Sometimes I'll draw eyes, sometimes I'll just let the eyes from the diecast stay. And recently I've been working on making these much better realistic eyes. Sometimes I'll do eyes like you saw on Dinoco Sally, where it's a color and then a dot of black in the middle. Sometimes I'll do these eyes with the additional eye shine just to give them a bit more personality, and that's what brings Chester into the top 10. Also, my white marker, I had a white marker, then I got a new one more recently. The new one that I've been using is much better. So you'll see for some of these older customs, their eyes are actually on silver instead of white, and you'll see those more for the honorable mentions that we'll be going through. Up next, number, I believe, this is 7, yep, Silver Sigler, one of my favorite character repaints. I think that this looks really, really good. I just tried my best to be really, really careful with the placement of the silver, replacing all the white with silver. They take it on the front. I had to rewrite in thin blue Sharpie. Nothing else has changed about her aside from additional eyelashes, which I really feel like normal Sigler was lacking. If I were to remake this, I'd just make the eyelashes not as thick. But yeah, not much to see here. I just think that this looks like a great custom because of how careful I was with the applying of the silver. And I still display her with my normal Sigler to this day. Moving on to number 6, this is where we get into really a selection of the best cars. At number 6 we have Next Gen Apple JP Drive. So this guy is on here because he's, number 1, fully painted white, which is so aggravating to do when you use liquid paint pens like I do. And number 2, I never really make cars from the movies that weren't made. Usually I just make ones from the video games or ones from my own series. In the case of JP, I did this to fill out a slot on my shelf. In the case of Mattel not releasing a JP Drive and having all the other next gens out, I've just made this guy just in case. I really like the Apple logo and his eyes. But you can see he's really not the best. I didn't make him to look super detailed. You can see the silver is not too good, but I think he looks great from the angle I display him, which is just from the front here. I didn't really make him for my series, but I think he looks great nonetheless for the cars that are painted fully white. And yes, there is one more of those on this list for those that are completely painted white. It's really a struggle, and that's why some of them are on here, because I'm really proud that I was able to paint a car fully white. Spot number 5 goes to sorry for that. Spot number 5 goes to my damaged McQueen custom. I, back in July, started a line of damaged racers, and because of that, I went back and tweaked my old damaged McQueen diecast custom and brought in some new detailing. As you can see, he's not the best because some of the black lines there are a bit squiggly, and you know, I didn't want to cut off his spoiler, but I'm really proud of this one because of just how insane it is. Scrape, sandpaper, silver and black all over. I drew black over a wheel to make it look like his tire was missing. I made it look like only parts of his tire were hanging on there. I really think he looks pretty good. Again, if I made him now, I'd probably use a thinner black, but I think for now, approaching nearly a year for this guy's existence, I think he looks pretty awesome. Moving on to number 4. This was originally number 1. This is Emma from Cars Made International. I don't really know where to start with this one. She is probably my personal favorite custom I've made. Just remember the struggling I went through to get this custom as well as I was able to. You see all the butterflies and everything. I tried to make it as accurate as possible without the one car in Tokyo Mater who looks like Emma. Without that diecast. I just had to make my own Emma here out of a Raoul Cerule. Now, the reason why she's not at number 1, there's just still some blue bleeding through. And she could really go for a new coat of white paint and pink paint, but in the case of her, I am really pretty proud of the eyes to make them look a bit more cartoonishly large. As you can see, that kind of makes her look more like one of the Tokyo Mater extras, but her eyes are actually pretty large compared to the normal characters, and a bit cartoonier. In the video game, her eyes are a bit more cartoony and larger. Going on to number 3, we have the first car to use that new eye technique that I showed back with, I believe, Chester. Redline Cal. I have more Cal Weathers diecast than I have normal Cals, I'm pretty sure. Actually, no, that's not true. I have 6 Cal Weathers, and 3 of them are customs. The other 3 are official variants. So, yeah. Moving on, though. This Cal I'm really proud of because of just the tracing of the Dinoco and how everything looks. He was part of a whole huge line of Redline racers. And with that, I like the combination of red, blue, and yellow. Not really a color scheme we see frequently on Cars characters. And the eyes. He was the first character to use this new style of eyes. He was from back in around September, and I think they just look really great on him. So you find him back there. And after a few months, these cars start not looking as good and are really due for a repaint. And Cal, yeah, he's one of those. But I'm really, really happy with how he turned out. Going on to number 2, we have another crashed custom. This time, J.D. McMiller, the rarest car that I've ever repainted. He's now not as rare because he's in that 11 pack. But I do have the next Gen 4 pack, so since I have that, when I bought the Mater with Lightning Bolt 11 pack, I had a spare J.D. McMiller, and I turned him into this crash damage one. Something you'll notice on all the race damage ones that I've made after McQueen, because the other crash cars, the ones I make now, are just from like a fictional series that I've come up with some big crash. I don't know, I don't really have a storyline for it. You'll always be able to notice some colors from other cars on him. White as a little Easter egg to JP Drive, or maybe Paul Conrav, and a whole lot of other colors all over. You see he was sandpapered down to the base metal there with that silver going through. He has another one of my favorite expressions, and once again, extremely proud of how that turned out. His eyebrows almost look kind of bruised. He's frowning. Everything's just covered in dust there from the sandpaper. Everything's scraped and damaged. He has some green paint running across his side. Toe cap. As one of the great Cars customizers out there, Four Wheel Drive 7, told me when I showed this off on the Google Plus community, he looks like he has gills. Which he does, I guess, with those little green drips there. So guys, meet J.D. McGiller. And what you'll see with all these cars are the bending of the axles for most of the damaged cars. So that was number 2. Now what you're wondering, Ty, when are you going to show us number 1? What was number 1? What was number 1? To which I'd say, be patient. Because I have to get through a bunch of honorable mentions first. I'm sorry, guys. Honorable mentions number 1 and 2. Redline Agents. Made a whole huge series of these guys, and I think they really look nice. And they hold up. I like the conformity and unity that they all show, with just being painted all black with some streaks of another color. Honorable mention number 2. First time I did eyes that weren't just black dots was on this Race-O-Rama McQueen custom, and I really think he holds up. That side does not, though, and it never did. Honorable mention number 3, El Guapo. One of my personal favorites. He just barely made the list. He would probably have been number 11. And with all those out of the way, it's time for number 1. Damaged Cal. My best custom, in my opinion. everything about this custom, I really think, blows all the other ones right out of the water. From the heavy amount of damage he sustained here, to the axles being bent out, to adding in all the dirt and color splotches from other characters. Even down to some broken window effects I did. And I mean, just look at that side. I was able to keep the eyes of the real diecast. I really think that this is my best custom. He kind of tells a story of his own here. And I'm really proud of him, and I just think he's my best one. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know which one of my customs is your favorite. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.